Pound.
In a world,
Get the hell up!
where Carolina Panthers fans
Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pounding.
have an insatiable thirst
I need to see a lot more of that shit going forward.
for Panthers news and opinions.
All my C3 brethren from the C3 Legion.
Only one podcast roars ferociously.
The longest running Panthers podcast on the internet.
It's the C3 Panthers Podcast.
Oh, great. I owe y'all $100, man.
The Carolina Panthers began organized team activities. That's right, OTAs today with a focus on increased competition. There's a bunch of guys in the wide receiver room, and now they're fighting for a greater spot on this roster, a greater spot in that offense, and iron sharpening iron as Tet McMillan's going against J.C. Horn, one of the best corners in the league. The Carolina Panthers are trying to get not only build, but get better each and every day. And it begins, according to Dave Canales, in moments like this, where they expose the team to a lot of the concepts that they're going to be installing when we get to training camp. You're listening to the C3 Panthers podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com, where every Tuesday night we chop up the latest Panthers news and opinions from the fan perspective. We're man down tonight. Cody Lack, prayers up for your mama Maria, as she is in the hospital right now, and Cody is navigating that challenge, not only for his mother, but for himself. So thoughts and prayers, I guess, if that's what you guys say. I certainly do pray, and I will pray for Cody Lack and his mother. CK in the house. We're back at it on a Tuesday night.
Man, we are, and we actually have things to talk about. Now, tonight, you're probably going to feel like, we don't have the production value all the way up to where, we normally do, because we don't have our esteemed producer in the house. But we're going to do our best to keep things afloat, and you're going to see the value that Cody Lack brings to the show here pretty quickly. But man, I'm just happy to be here. It's bittersweet. It seems like C3 just has one new thing after another. It just doesn't really seem like any of us have one. If one of us is doing well, the others are having to struggle, and it's just just everybody keep Cody definitely in your thoughts and prayers, and just know it's a difficult situation, and we don't know a lot of details, but let's just know for the sake of Cody and his mother, we want her to get healthy, and be back home, so that Cody can continue to do the things he loves to do, which is be here with you guys every Tuesday night and Friday night, manning the stations with that Friday free for all. And
As he would do it, it's Tuesday night. We're going to do it with the best damn Panther fans and all of YouTube, including Harvey London, VR the Hope Dealer, the Cardiac Cat 13, White Chocolate Espresso, My Bastard Son, C3 Doug, VR Up, Thomas DeVries, Brandon McLone, C3D's Ill Skills. You guys are the greatest. Make sure to smash the thumbs up button, subscribe, be a part of the show. You can call in at 252-228-5098. That's 252-228-5098. CK, the Panthers opened up training or OTAs today, but as they opened up OTAs, we are already start hearing about injuries that people have been dealing with injuries from the past as teams or as these players are trying to get better, and some are returning. Good news is Derrick Brown is spotted out there in limited action, or at least they're going to bring him along slowly, but having the big man in the middle on that defense is going to be important. The Carolina Panthers just extended Tommy Tremble on a 2-year deal, and now Tommy Tremble is having back surgery. According to Dave Canales, Tommy did have surgery on his back last week, a successful surgery. We were kind of thinking about it, Canales said, talking about it, looking at timelines and all that, and just felt like for him to give him the time. He's 25 years old. Let's get this thing while he's young and strong and be able just to get back on the right track, back, pun intended. CK, this is the time of year you don't want to hear about injuries, but Tommy Tremble is going under the knife. And I tell you one thing is I've never really felt like anybody who's had back surgery just has one back surgery.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's usually additional things that are that you have to worry about with that, because you end up having to adjust. But here's the thing: is I think these guys are professional athletes, and it's if they're expecting him to be ready in training camp, I can't imagine that this is a super serious surgery that is so significant that we're going to be worried about additional back concerns. Now, that being said, who knows? I'm not a doctor on that stuff. I'm not overly concerned about it. I know he just got paid more than I think many of us thought he was going to get paid by the Panthers, but it is nice to have a few reserve players and Sanders and that new guy we got, the rookie. Can't even remember his name yet, but I have a feeling we're going to start to learn his name as time goes on. But yeah, I think this is a big old, it's a question mark. It's a red flag, but it's certainly not panic mode by any stretch.
Xavier Legette also coming off of a foot surgery this offseason with a focus on, improving his game as they open up OTAs. We'll talk about Xavier Legette in just a few moments. Really not but before we get into more stories, I mean, I think that was, I think they mentioned, I was watching the press conference. I know you watched a little bit from the Canales press conference that Coker, is on the sidelines. He's dealing with something, and DJ Wanham also dealing with what they called a back flare up, and they want to just keep those things under control and watch those. OTAs is a very short period of time. 3 days here, 3 days a little bit later. I can look at the schedule. I pulled it up yesterday.
Is the mandatory minicamp immediately following OTAs? Is that how this works?
Let's see. I just pulled this up yesterday, and I've already forgotten it. This I think is 3 days. Let me see. I'm pulling it up right now. Come on. Let's see. It's at the bottom. It's OTAs 27th, 28th, May 30th, June 2nd and 3rd, and June 5th. So over the next week, right? We have 1 week of organized team activities. Mandatory minicamp starts June 10th through 12th.
Okay.
So you'll see. I mean, right now, I don't think any of the names for the Carolina Panthers there's no holdout names, right? There's not going to be any people missing those.
We don't have all the people you would be worried about holding out. We've already broken the bag off for them. You have Derrick Brown. He's already got his money. You have J.C. Horn. We don't have any other superstars that I think you would be worried about them, holding out at any junction. There is no value in doing that. There's no other team that's going to pay anybody else on our team a high dollar amount. So I just don't. Yeah, we had a pretty good turnout, to be honest with you, for an OTAs.
Yeah, when you talk about OTAs, one of the stories right now on Cat Crave, you go to catcrave.com, written by Dean Jones, go support them. This is a time where these guys the rookies really get introduced to some of the ideas that the team's going to be looking for. And we always hear this too, is not only the rookie mini camps, but the OTAs, is that they want to see how the rookies interpret this and bring this back when they learn in the mandatory mini camp, and how they, if they internalize that, study that, and apply that to when they get to training camp. On catcrave.com right now, the story is J.C. Horn is making Tetero McMillan unstoppable, one rep at a time. And what Tet McMillan has talked about it, he said this, quote, he's one of the best corners in the league, referring to J.C. Horn. I know that me going against him, giving me his best every day, is only going to prepare me for everything that's going to get thrown at me in the season. I feel like JC is one of those guys I can do it on. I'm not going to be surprised coming into the season just getting something different, because I've been playing against it every day in practice. That's a matchup I'm definitely looking forward to. that iron sharpens iron. And that's what I don't know if you're going to get that level of intensity in these organized team activities, but this is their first taste of what's to come.
Yeah, I mean it's as we talked about, it's every little rep counts, every little opportunity to learn something is important. I think if you're trying to learn how to be a better or how to do this whole pro game, going up against a corner like JC Horn is only going to be helpful. I don't care if it is OTAs or not. A lot of the stuff that you're doing in your reps, whether if it's a one-on-one rep with JC Horn and Ted, I mean, a lot of that's going to be exactly what it would be in a real game scenario for the most part. So I think there's still some value he's getting out of it. Again, we have been oohed and awed by many people in these environments, and it turned out to be absolute, fool's gold. But it's still, enough to make you excited to hopefully see this guy develop quicker than we've seen receivers in the past.
And speaking of him, this is the one clip I was able to, that I saw. I'm sure most people. Let's see. Remove stop screen. I've gotten so spoiled. Let's see. Here we go. Speaking of Tet, here he is. Little taste right there. What's to come.
Yep. I know why they do it, but I really hate this always seeing the ball in the air and only seeing it hit the hands and not really seeing the route that Tet was running, see what his what coverage he beat, anything like that. But I get it. It's certainly pretty clear that they don't want their practices videoed.
Yeah, they've made that clearer and clearer as they've over the last couple of years in so many ways. Is that you almost thought that there was going to be a relaxing of
last year we thought there were. We thought they were going to be super relaxed about it, and then some jackass decided to go and film it with a drone.
Yeah, there you go. Did you? This came out today that the Panthers are adding joint practice this season with the Texans, right?
Yeah, it's the Texans and the Browns now. I think we have joint practices with. Now, they said they want to get ready for the Heat. Are we practicing in Houston?
I think it sounds like it. Canales said this. He said, I always like these moments too because you travel a little earlier to have a joint practice. So there's just one more time at the hotel for players to connect, the coaches to connect and all that. So it's kind of a team building thing as well as just good change up with the Browns coming here and then us going to Houston there. We can go against each other every day. It's great. It just brings fresh life into that competitive environment. So I love these joint practices. We'll take advantage of it. I always feel like there's some injuries in these dang joint practices.
Well, it always gets heated. Now, I think we've come away pretty unscathed from them in the past. I think there have been, people who have the Kelvin Benjamin injury was not a joint practice, was it?
Ooh, I don't know. It was like the first practice of the season. It felt like.
It wasn't. No. Remember, he was having a really good training camp up into that point. I remember Josh Klein would always talk about it. He would say like it was like the type of a training camp that makes you realize this dude's about to be a beast. And then that happened, and then it turned absolutely horrendous. So yeah, I mean, as far as the injuries, I don't know that I feel like we have had people in the chat. Feel free to tell us if that's the case, because I don't think that we had any of those types of injuries. Not recently.
Was it JC? No, that was a hamstring. Maybe it was 2 years ago. I don't know what these joint practices. We always think they're going to be. I think it's good to have a change of like faces and where the guys aren't doing the same thing over and over, and you're going against.
Well, they get pissed off at each other. Like, I mean, it's a great way to start the season actually being built up as a team and not being enemies with the people on the other side of the field. I think there's value in there. You see how other, you kind of get your true measurements of how you handle things. And if you're coaching staff, you're able to kind of it's not just a training for your players, but it's a training for yourself. If you're talking about play calling and 7-on-7s or anything like that, I think that the joint practices are absolutely helpful in that instance.
It's going to be a giant year, CK, for Bryce Young, and really him stepping into a leadership role, right? Him being familiar with this offense the first year, that he's going to not have to learn a new playbook and verbiage. But that's also in so many ways, like, is that an overblown? I would say overblown. Like, I mean, it's good to have consistency, but he's only been in the league 2 years, and he had 2, right?
You mean
so he came in as a rookie. He had to do old guy, Frank Reich system, and then the following year, his second season, he was adopting the Dave Canales system. So now he's building on that. So it's not like it's been 5 years or 3 years of different.
No, he's this is his first year of consistency, which I think will tell us a lot about. I mean, you have your offensive line intact, you have your weapons core intact, and additions added to it on top of it. It's the same play callers. You didn't really lose anything from that perspective. So if he doesn't take a step forward, I know that we look at last year as a huge step forward, but if we don't see that continue to progress, I really don't know what to think about it. But I do think that we've got to be willing to be a bit critical of anything that happens in that first half of the year. If we don't see any type of improvement of him getting better, I do worry about that, because I really don't think that we have any excuses anymore if for whatever reason he slides backwards.
I think, though, that the cards and the stars are in alignment for him to step forward, right? Because, is that while there was adversity in the first season, that the adversity he faced in season 2, to me, was could mentally destroy someone.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
And there was a thought that was happening right before our eyes, and that kind of bounced back at the end of the year, or not kind of bounced back. The Panthers, whatever optimism we gained from it, really, I think it came in a slow, strong, solid way for Bryce Young, to where it wasn't flash in the pan success, to where I think that, he's had now an off season to settle in and continue to believe in himself. And he didn't finish poorly or something like that. I think that just opportunity to get tougher, it showed a lot of mental fortitude last year, and physical fortitude for him surviving half the time for the last 2 years.
If you ask me where I'm putting my money, I'm putting it on Bryce Young improving even beyond what we saw at the end of last year. I'm putting my money on that. I'm just saying that, being somebody who has seen these types of situations, and they sometimes do not go the way, like even if we see like a temporary resurgence of a player, we sometimes see that regression back into the mean, right? And so my money is that that's not going to be the outcome. But there is always that possibility, and we have to be willing to be critical of that. As a Bryce Young defender myself, because I legitimately do not think that there is anything this year that will be able to be utilized as an excuse for him outside of a potential injury, on him dealing with something himself or on the offensive line or something along those lines. But outside of that, he needs to perform at a really high level. And if he's not considered a top 15 quarterback in the league this year, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah. And this is like that consistency, that ability to build on what he learned and put Canales' system into its full play is going to be a big part of that. Canales commented on this, saying it's the subtle changes. It's the subtle changes. I think we have a great foundation. Let's see, where does this quote start and stop at? This is funny. Okay. Subtle changes. I think we have a great foundation of things that was the first year, which was to get the core established, to get words and all those things in place, and then just some adjustment based on our skill. The skill position players, the runners, the receivers, JT, and then just kind of becoming us and honing in on some of the things we saw in self-scout, like the concepts we really feel confident with that really run well. We have the adjustments off of it So now it's just about adding little tools, things that Bryce can do at the line of scrimmage, things that he can tweak and change based on what the defense is doing. And I think that's the key line right there is the implementation of the scheme to a point where not only has Bryce Young learned it, but can implement that and implement it on the fly and make the most of it. So sounds like what they're going to be doing is they're going to be, that's my buzzer. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's awful. This is a dryer that came in my new house.
Nice.
It's got to go. That's
the
my dryer
90s.
storage. Got to get rid of it. But good Lord, it's like overtime 3 times, like a buzzer beater. So I'm going to throw up a buzzer beater in another second. It's going to do it 2 more times. I have to mute the mic. It sounds like they're ready for him to take the reins and really push forward in a leadership role, right? And not just be reliant on the offensive coaching staff. I think Brandon Malone had a great comment here. He said Cam had struggles his first 2 years. Then year 3, he really put it all together.
Well, I think it's a good point. And I also think that to Dave Canales' statement there, I think Bryce Young did some of the best things he did all year when he was in control of the offense, in no huddle situations or in like improvise. That's always been the thing, is his improvisation skills on the field were kind of what, propelled him to be the number 1 overall pick. And, when you are keeping him in a box and not allowing him to kind of play the game the way that he needs to play it, I think there is, you're doing Bryce Young a disservice, but also you're really locking out his potential of creating magic on off schedule plays.
You're listening to the longest running Panthers podcast, the C3 Panthers Podcast. The number is 252-228-5098. We're chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions, focusing on OTAs right now. Return to some big boys, Derrick Brown on the sideline, but also we're trying to see what players that showed some life last year or showed some potential, how they're going to continue to grow. And the one most talked about for Carolina Panthers is Xavier Legette. And the story on Panthers.com right now is Xavier Legette spent his offseason looking backward in order to move forward. And the drops continue to be the focal point of Panther fans discussing this. When they asked Xavier Legette about his rookie season, he said, I wouldn't say it was harder than I needed to be, than I needed to be. I mean, I cost us those games. Boy, you want to talk about, I don't know how he's not a fan favorite. Oh, buzz.
Still going off.
That's the final one. There's 3. I don't know what the hell that is. You can't change the setting on it, which is crazy. Is that not only is he an endearing character, man, he really just speaks straight up, and this has been on his mind like crazy too. He said, I taking accountability here, says, I cost us those games. So looking back at the struggles of those 7 drops that he had in season 1, he sat down with his receivers coach, Rob Moore, and offensive coordinator, Brad Izzik, and watched film of every one of his 84 targets from last season. They assessed what he could have done better or differently, as well as they worked and as what worked and why. The biggest takeaway with the drops was at which point the focus became on how to fix them. Now, I don't really even like this part. I don't really get what it means. I mean, I do and I don't. Me getting open, that wasn't the problem, he said. Legette said. It was just honing on into really catching the ball on the drops.
Yeah, he said he wants to be a hand catcher, and that's something that he's working on. And one of the things, what was interesting about this question when it was being asked, I can't remember. It was one of the guys, I think, that said you were being really hard on yourself at the end of those games, harder than you needed to be, I think is what it said. And then that's what his response was, is I wouldn't say it was harder than I needed to be, talking about being harder on himself. But he did say, I did cost us those games. And I think that's a hard pill to swallow, but the fact that he's still able to talk about it is, listen, when you hear, I don't know how much anybody has gone through something where you've done something wrong. And I tell you, there's a tremendous amount of freedom and addressing the elephant in the room than it is burying the trying to hide the things that maybe make you look worse, right? If you address it, you can grow a lot more effectively than you would be trying to hide the fact that you don't think that you lost those games. And so the fact that he's coming out and saying it this way, I think is absolutely important to his development. But also, I think it tells us a lot about this dude and the fact that he has a tremendous amount of mental fortitude. And I think that you need to have it in this league, especially with this fan base where we've been so jaded with receivers. It's especially when you're coming from South Carolina, you're already splitting the fan base in half as it is. It's an interesting situation, but I think that Xavier Legette's handling this incredibly well, and just being as direct as he is incredible.
It's a level of maturity, right? I think people that are insecure are the ones that have the hardest time admitting when they make mistakes. Right. Yeah. And like, if you lack confidence in yourself, you lack ability or whatever it is, if you're insecure as a person, you will refuse as long as you can to address mistakes, weaknesses, or whatever you have. I think the smartest people in the room can often be the first people to admit that they're wrong or they didn't know something. Right. And it's the people that are clinging to the idea that they're probably smarter than they are that will refuse to acknowledge other evidence or things like that, because it doesn't threaten your view of yourself being wrong, right? It doesn't like, oh, it's not because I'm not smart enough. You still believe in your intelligence. You still believe in this case in your ability. But it really just seems like such a stand-up dude, like a real guy that you would just want to be your friend. And he went on to say, mainly just trying to catch it more with my hands and letting it get into my body or crossing my eyes. Guys, we want to get with you guys. We want to know what you're talking about. The number's 252-228-5098. We really don't have much on the show other than that's about it, actually, when it comes to content. If you guys want to talk about anything specifically when it comes to the team that we might be missing or that you think is worthy of discussing, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me get here. Do all this. I miss Cody already. The number is 252-228-5098. Let's get into the cat calls, CK.
So what are your thoughts on catcalling?
Yeah, it's pretty you shouldn't do that to somebody.
And how did that make you feel?
Very uncomfortable.
So how do you think catcalling makes the person feel?
It feels good, like...
Who's that cat sitting in the back corner with his face buried in his nose? Who's that kid that can use one?
What's up, C3? It's Lucas from Far City. So I have a good story for you guys tonight. Something made me think of the Panthers in a whole different sport. I got to go to Charlotte this weekend for the Coke 600 on Sunday night. Had a good time. And so William Byron, the hometown boy from Charlotte, North Carolina, dominated all night long. The 600 is the longest race of the year. And he led almost a whole race until less than about 50 to go. Ross Chastain from Alva, Florida, about an hour from Tampa, takes the lead from William and wins the Coke 600. I don't know what it is about the city of Tampa and the state of Florida, but they've had North Carolina's number in not just football, but in NASCAR too now. I don't know what we're going to do, but it's time. It's time the tables turn. Hopefully our Panthers can do it, and hopefully William can do it, because the NASCAR season, we got a long way to go. Happy Memorial Day, y'all. Honor and remember. Keep pounding. Go Panthers.
When's the last time we played all the Florida teams in the same year?
Oh, I don't know. And are we playing all of them this year? We're playing Tampa, Miami,
and Jacksonville.
There it is, right? There's no more. It's crazy. They have 3 football teams, one state. I mean, I guess it makes sense. How many are in California?
3.
Rams.
Oh, there used to be 3.
Rams. 3.
Rams, San Francisco, and Chargers. And used to be Raiders.
All right, let's go to the next call.
Yo, what's up, C3? It's Anthony from Charlotte. Hope y'all boys are having a good Tuesday, man. Just wanted to call in and say what's up. Currently, sorry, there was walking my dog. Just wanted to say what's up. Cody, my brother, prayers out to you. You know what it's about. Praying for you, brother. The Panthers, man, the Panthers. OTA started. Love what I'm seeing so far. Obviously, I forget the phrase Tony uses, but it's just like, dudes running around pretty much. And, what they used to call it. Oh, that was for the combine, the underwear bowl. Or
Underwear Olympics.
Yeah, man. Listen, this team looks completely different than the 2023 team. And I don't know. I can't guarantee any fan that there's going to be great results or anything, but feels like the GM is so confident. It's like, man, just look how different the roster is from 2023. Maybe that's an exercise I'll do. I'll pull up both of the rosters and see how much we've improved on paper. But Dave Canales is talking about Bryce Young. Great things to hear. Bryce Young, listen, man, I think this could be the first time in his career where he has a coach that actually resembles faith in him. And I feel like as a guy, he's said many times he's like lives through God and in faith and stuff. So I think having that in his corner is going to help him to grow confidence. I'm really excited about all the weapons, the defensive players. Listen, I know we're probably going to sign one or two defensive players, I'm assuming. There's still some solid ones out there. The free agency was weird. Like the market, a lot of players haven't signed still. It was just a weird free agency. But listen, I know people are worried about the defense, and I am to a certain extent too. But the best way to get the rookies to see what we have in these young bucks, you gotta play them. Like Derrick Brown played day one. He wasn't necessarily great, but you still saw flashes from him. Jeremy Shin played day one. He was my rookie of the year that year, even though, he's not on the team anymore. But that's my point. So like let Scorton, let Princely play, man. Damani Richardson, Charles Smith-Wade, like let these guys get some burn. And then you can factor that into, all right, do we have to make an acquisition like right now? Those are my thoughts. Give me your thoughts. Anthony from Charlotte, keep motherfucking pound.
Thank you, Anthony. Great call there. The importance of, I guess, the Panthers investing in their rookies. CK, we had a good discussion last week about the wisdom behind releasing Jadeveon Clowney, right? Or the lack of, if it was the right move or not. But what Anthony from Charlotte says is really just investing that opportunity in the guys that you think are going to make a difference in the team in the future. And now that might not be all of them. You're not talking about second, third, fourth, all of a sudden everybody in a starting role.
Right.
But these guys are going to have to play. I think Ted McMillan, obviously, going to be out there day one. And you're really we're going to be curious to see who's joining in the platoon of edge rushers out there. Who can take the lead? Is it, Princely, or is it Scorton? Or is some other, or are we going to see somebody like DJ Johnson take a step forward in his year 3? But the Carolina Panthers are, in many ways, and for most people, is like the positive response that comes from Dan Morgan and what he's been doing. There's still opportunity to add to this team. And we started the show off talking about Tommy Tremble and his injury. The Panthers only have 3 tight ends on their roster. Now one of them just went under back surgery. Maybe you can have Jordan Matthews or somebody play temporarily a role as you're trying to figure it out. You have drafted a rookie that people are going to be that are excited about, but it's going to be this kind of the next couple of weeks. You could see some last minute additions being made to this team, but overall, CK, is the positive response from fans just about the direction of the team is it warranted in a sense, or like is it rooted in reality, or is it just this time of the season where everybody just always feels like you're getting better?
I think it can be a combination of both of those, but I think it's absolutely more so warranted just based on the way that this offense looked at the end of last year, and the fact that, I mean, there's only one way for this defense to go, and that's up. And so I think there is a tremendous amount of just simple fandom that comes into play with this as well. To be fair, we always, every year, right before the season, always have like this unbridled faith in the team being a better product on the field than they were the year before. And that doesn't mean we think we're going to the playoffs every single year, but we always have this weird belief that we are going to be better than we actually end up being. So hope that I'm hoping that it's the former as opposed to the latter in that, but it's you never know until you start seeing that team take the field. So, but I'm of the mind that it's a warranted optimism.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and that's what's I guess with sports in general, the reset that comes with every year, the opportunity is like last year is in the past to a degree. Right? Like it's in the past, it's over. A new season is a new season, but the legacy of challenge, the legacy of difficulty and building off of what you did is still a reality. It is nice to hear Panther fans optimistic in the tone. I have not heard a ton of negativity in the tone of things, and I really think it continues to come back to the idea is that you had a first-year head coach and in Bryce Young, who had these massive struggles going in, and somehow you finished on a note of belief. And that is an incredible feeling. Imagine, though, if it would have been the flip-flop and the Panthers finished terrible, started better, right? And like what the pressure would be. I almost feel like Bryce Young is now back to playing with a little house money.
Right.
To where he doesn't have this immense pressure that was there. And not that it was like, it's always going to be there, but there is, he's walking around smiling, Excel's smiling, and he could have been walking into this going, oh God, I got to prove. And I think he in himself proved it to himself more than anybody last year. And he really did. I can't imagine. It's like harder to think of a scenario where somebody can come out of a challenge like that and in a light like this. You would not have been betting on week 2 Bryce Young. People were talking about his career being over in Carolina.
Yeah,
this show had hours and hours of commentary on will he play again will he start for the Panthers? And now we're back to charting a new season, a new future, a new destiny with him at the helm. And I like that. It's just, it's really, I'm thankful, because imagine how crappy this podcast would be if we had to deal with that. Let's go back to the calls. John B. Jenkins with some football updates outside the NFL.
Hey guys, John B. Jenkins here with your European League of Football update and an update on your favorite team in the league, the Panthers Broschlaw. Well, the Panthers Broschlaw are more like the Panthers Bra lost. They lost to the Nordic Storm 40-21 in the second game of the season. Nordic Storm is just a powerhouse of all-star talent from around the league. The way the contracts in the ELF work is you don't get a lot of guys sticking on a team year after year. They chase the money to whatever team will pay them, and Nordic Storm paid a lot of all-stars a bunch of money to come and join their new team, as you can tell from the 40-21 beatdown we got. But we did have some pretty cool plays. Devin Burrell making a case. Some people are saying in the league for an MVP season as a kick returner / cornerback. Dude had another return for a touchdown. Our star linebacker, A.J. Wentland, I think he had like 16 tackles. The first game, he didn't really show up much on the stat line, but 16 tackles is, returning to true form. He's kind of like our Dan Morgan, Luke Kuechly type linebacker right there in the middle. But anyway, they did lose.
Uh-oh. Breaking up, breaking out. John B.
Oh, they've got home ice at hard and won, and now we take it to Raleigh on Wednesday. And
hold on, let's see.
Who knows?
All right, he's gonna come out and talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, Carolina Hurricanes, terrible start. Got just destroyed in games 1 and 2.
But man, guys pulled together and fought hard and won, and now we take it to Raleigh on Wednesday. And who knows? They could, they've got home ice advantage. They could, if they win the next 3, close the series out, and make it to the Stanley Cup in Raleigh. Crazier things have happened. They won their first conference finals game since 2006 when they went to the Stanley Cup. They've been in it a few times actually since then, but have never won any of the games in this round. So anyway, that's about all I got for y'all today. Check out your IFL highlights if you want some really cool indoor football action. There's a lot of great ones on YouTube. I'll be calling back next week with some updates of this and that. But until then, as always, keep pounding Carolina Panthers, keep pounding Panthers Brosslaw, and keep pounding C3. John B. Jenkins out.
All right, thank you. Thank you. Carolina Hurricanes got to get it together. They just got whooped in those first 2. Pulled one out last night. Were able to get back on track a little bit, but if they go down 3-1, it's an uphill battle. It is. They had to win that game last night, and thankfully they did. They just have not been able to compete with that Florida Panthers team. Enough of the Florida teams. Hopefully the Panthers will be better competitors in the NFL against Florida teams than the Carolina Hurricanes are. Let's go to the Hope Dealer.
CK, Tony Dunn, Cody Lack, the C3 Legion. What up, everybody out there? This is the Hope Dealer checking in real quick. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. So I got to say it, y'all. And y'all know me. I'm Mr. Hopeful. But I got to say, man, that, we might need to pump the brakes a little bit. We might need to pump the brakes just a little bit on the OTA talk. Look, I know it's exciting. I don't want to tell nobody how to fan. But look, y'all, Jimmy Horn Jr., I love the guy. All right. I think that he's got some potential. But Jimmy Horn Jr., he's a 6th-round pick for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear everybody talking big about him and some other players. Y'all got to remember, these guys ain't got on pads yet. They're not hitting. OTAs are over. So I'm so cautiously optimistic, man. Like, I get excited. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but I'm just trying not to get my hopes up too much, too fast, because I go through this every year. And then it's like when the regular season start, man, something just fall out the bottom. So I'm a little apprehensive. But all I know is Bryce Young need to play in the preseason this year. I hope Dave Canales learned his lesson last year. Play some of them players, man, including Bryce in the preseason. But anyway, y'all, it's Mr. Hopeful himself, the Hope Dealer. Hope everybody out there is staying safe and dry. Keep pounding.
Yeah, I think, look, it's okay to be excited and optimistic, but there's also a key to that in staying realistic. And just because you see a guy catch a football and because you like him and this and or you like the name and the speed and the numbers, doesn't mean this is going to translate to a guy having 7 touchdowns, 1,000-yard season or something to that effect. What you really want is a 6th round. I don't like to get set expectations on on these lower picks, right? You know what I'm saying? Is like if they can make the field and the roster and do something and make some sort of difference, then hell yeah. But you can't depend. The problem that the Panthers have had so much going into the past is like depending on players more than they needed to going into the season, right? It's like, oh, well, we need this 3rd-round pick to be a starting defensive end, and not only be a starting defensive end, but to be a star defensive end, right? Like, we want to see these guys get in there and pleasantly surprise. And I mean, even if you think about somebody like a Micah Parsons, people thought Micah Parsons would be good, and then all of a sudden he just excelled. We need that. We don't need, I mean, you can do whatever you want, when it comes to the way you think or whatever, the way you fan or all of that, is I've just been around the block long enough to know that I'd rather be, it's kind of like, if you open a gift and expect a PS5, CK, and then somebody gets you like a gift card to Walmart for $50, like you could be disappointed you didn't get a PS5. But if you didn't expect anything, I'm not saying expect anything. I mean, you have to have some sort of expectations as a fan. It's a sport and things like that, right? But like, you can be, I don't know. It's like, even if you think about XL, look at the season for XL last year, and so many people, it was a disappointment, right? And then all kind of just depends on what you set your meter or your measurement of success on going in, your preconception of what success was. And I just don't know what the preconceptions of success for any of these people are. And I certainly don't set them during OTAs.
No. I mean, it's, the caller's not wrong. I mean, we do need to pump the brakes a little bit on the, the hype that we put on these players just based off of a highlight that we show once. I mean, if you guys don't remember, DJ Chark had a crazy cool highlight in training camp as well, and OTAs and all that stuff. We just gotta, we have to take that with a grain of salt. Kyle L in the chat was asking about Cody, which a lot of people have joined here towards the end of the show. Not that we're wrapping up right now, guys, don't go anywhere. But Cody Lack, his mom is in the hospital, dealing with some stuff, and we're trying to see how serious it all is. But right now, all we can ask for is you guys to keep him and his family in your thoughts and prayers, because that throws a pretty big wrench into Cody's life. Not just
she's a big part of the C3 team, even though you don't see it, because she's such a big part of Cody's life.
Yeah. You guys know Cody's dealing with his handicap, so not only with her health do we want her to get better, but for Cody's sake, we certainly want to see him continue to be able to do this podcast. He's such an important part of what we do. So please do me a favor, everybody who hasn't already done so or didn't know anything about that, please keep him and his mom in your thoughts and prayers, because right now I think he's going to need all positive vibes coming his way while we're trying to figure out what's going on there. So anyway, just wanted to let the chat know as we're later in the show.
I go back to Harvey London's comment. He says, I think Jimmy Horn will be a return guy this year at best, unless injuries push him into the lineup. We have too much talent for him to get consistent reps right now. And I think that's reasonable. I mean, not even reasonable. Like, I'll be surprised. A lot of these times, I would be, I mean, I guess it's, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be saying it, even though we saw Jalen Coker play a significant role last year. But it was also brought in by injuries and turmoil with the trade of Deontay Johnson and some different things that the Panthers were left scrambling at that position, right? But the Panthers are building a group right now where there's only so much. Right now you have Adam Thielen, you have who's the guy Cody loves, the Clemson player, gosh, what's his name? Hunter Renfrow, right? Like, you have some vets and a mixture of this young talent in XL, Tet McMillan, and Coker. I mean, how many times are you going to be able to get a chance, right? But these guys like that, that's where they can excel. That's where they can find opportunities of, like, you're making a contribution on special teams, and then all of a sudden you find an opportunity. They run a reverse for you in the game or do something, a wrinkle play. You make a difference and you find one way to get one more rep or one more opportunity on the field. You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast, brought to you by CarolinaCatChronicles.com. The number's 252-228-5098. Let's go to my bastard son, Kev.
Yo, what's White Chocolate Espresso? Yo, listen, again, nothing really much to talk about, nothing really going on, but another week, not signing anybody. Why we cut Clowney again? Haven't signed anybody, and now I'm hearing Wanham is, has a little injury and that out there. I know it's not supposed to be a big deal, but still, it's got me a little worried about our depth. I mean, I don't know. But first want to say shout out to Cody. Man, prayers up to you, brother. Love you. Peace.
Yeah, thank you, Kev. And we got to find a way. We got to do more than prayers. Well, man, prayers actually do deliver. I believe in that more than anything. I get my mom on it. She's a prayer warrior. She'll get a whole nunnery of Catholics praying for people. But we're going to have to continue to monitor, but be a part of Cody's life, right? Just like he's such a great part of ours. Let's go to the next call.
Hey, guys. It's the girl that makes him howl, a.k.a. Joey the Blind Panther. I haven't called in a while, but I really wanted to say that this year, I hate saying this. Honestly, I hate saying this because it comes back to bite me in the ass every year. But this year finally seems like the year where we can believe the optimism. And I say that because unlike where we're getting optimistic for a new coach, for a coach that hasn't been in the Panthers, like Frank Reich, what a total dud that was. Like, what a war crime. But we're not getting excited for that. Like, we're not getting excited for a total swing of the pendulum from Lucas, Matt Rule to Frank Reich to and it's not like last year where we're getting excited about what Dave Canales can be. Last year we got to see what Dave Canales, Bryce Young, and Dan Morgan can be, and we got to see what they are. And it looked good. And this year we have a chance of seeing more of that and even building upon that. I think this year's optimism is quite a bit different, and I'm here for it because having to explain to my mom that a Roaring Riot cruise existed with, possibly multiple thousand Panther fans was a royal pain in the ass. And we're talking about somebody who's passed on the I cuss at the Panthers when we lose gene. And it's just how low can you go when you got to explain to your own mama that people want to go on a Roaring Riot cruise.
Damn.
Anyway, I think we'll see it from Bryce. I think we'll see it from XL. I think we'll see it from a lot of people this year. I think we're going to have a great year. I just see it. I just see it with my fake eyes. I just see a bright day coming. Anyway, guys.
Sheesh. See,
wow.
Is the Run Riot doing a cruise this year?
Yeah.
Wow. Is Joey going? Question mark. If Joey's going, I'm going just to watch his blind ass take down every lady on that boat. That'd be a sight in itself. That man, no lady safe. No lady safe.
Well, he's not either.
All right, let's go to the last call of the night.
Yo, what's good, C3? It's JD54. Hey, man, I wanted to share my 2 cents on how things are looking. Got OTAs popping off and stuff today. But I said I wanted to share my opinion. What I really wanted to do was get your guys' opinion on Evero. It's been weird with me, in my opinion, of Evero because, like, from the ending of the season and how their defense looked last year, he has reasons for why that defense looked bad. Talent issues and all of that, lack of depth, all of that. But I feel like a good coach would have been able to get more out of the defense than what we were able to get. Even though the defense was bad, I still feel like a really good coach would have been able to get more out of the defense. Which is what's leaving me in an odd position with Evero because the defense, the talent on that side of the ball has improved. I'm not entirely sure Evero's going to be able to coach those dudes up to their talent level. Could be wrong, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys' attention because it's been something that's on my dome for the longest amount of time. Sadly, we got to wait until the season gets here before we can actually see answer or get answers to that question. But yeah, just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. I'm probably going to call him the second time because I got some wild storyline type stuff running through my head and just trying to connect the dots before I even speak on it. But yeah, wanted to ask y'all that. Keep on it. Great show. I'm out.
Ejiro Evero, double E, point of contention and point of discussion for the Carolina Panthers for 3 years, was able to hold over from one coaching staff to another, right? From the Frank Reich era to now. Has been faced with, I don't think any single person on the planet would talk about the difficulties and challenges he faced fielding the defense, facing injuries to his best players. That also happens to every team a lot of times, right? Not only did the Panthers face injuries to their best players, ZK, they didn't have many good players to start with. It was a thin defense that was paper thin, wet bag thin, that then broke because of these injuries. He's a conundrum when it comes to the Carolina Panthers. I was really shocked that they kept him this past year after last season and after the holdover, the difficulties and the struggles. I thought you would just brought in your guy that you kind of reset, restart, reset fresh. But the idea of trying to keep some continuity, I guess, was important. Dave Canales didn't want to change everything all the time. The thing for me is that I agree with JD is I don't care what players you got, is that defense you think should be better than that.
I don't think they're still NFL players,
right?
To be fair. And I think that there shouldn't be a need for superstars for your defense to be not the worst in history.
Right.
You know what I mean? And people could say all they want that the offense didn't help them. I can tell you with a pretty large amount of certainty from the beginning of the season, even before, you could really make the argument that the defense wasn't getting much help from the offense. They were still horrible. Like when we played against the Commanders, and you guys forget, Jaden Daniels went down within 3 or 4 plays of the game and didn't come back in, and we got slaughtered.
Yeah.
It's not even, and it wasn't just because our offense wasn't doing good. Our defense could not stop the Commanders at all. And so I am, again, at this point in time, I've been wanting him gone. And I don't want to be that guy who constantly is calling for somebody to be fired or anything like that. But I'm telling you, the same way a lot of you guys felt about, the same way you guys felt about Bryce Young, many of you. I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. I am not going into this season with this crazy amount of optimism that this defense is going to take a giant step forward while Evero's at the helm. I want it to go. I want it to work out, because I'd be an absolute idiot to not want to see this team improve from what we saw last year. But I am telling you, I cannot put that. I cannot, in good faith, make that optimism on the defense become a reality in my brain.
The single problem I have with the Evero's performance or coaching or whatever you want to say is not coaching up people. It's that, the Panthers have invested a lot in draft picks and different things in the off season last year to the offense. Right. They invested in the offensive line. They're not giving them the tools. But I also feel like his fingerprints have been all over the defense too, about the guys that they bring in, right? Yeah. The guys, the individual guys, whether one being good and
Josie Jewels,
right. I mean but every single player that they've brought in has had some sort of connection to him in the past, as well as I just continue to go back to you run a 3-4 and you don't have a nose tackle that is you run light. You run with these, and it really feels like they've listened to him and he's had some influence on the guys that they've fielded, and then it hasn't worked. So I don't think there's really, I want to say I don't think the injury thing is a pass anymore. And CK is I'm surprised he didn't made it through last season. And if this team doesn't really, and this defense doesn't significantly look better, I don't see how he makes it through this season or
I don't
past
know that
this season.
if we don't see a massive improvement by halfway through the season and our offense is cooking, I don't even know if we make it to halfway point. Like, I really don't know if they're going to be willing to risk another year of our offense being good and, arguably, and our defense not performing well. I think that he might be on thin ice, like, meaning like maybe a 6-game type of 6 weeks in, if he's still the defensive coordinator, I think it means our defense took a step forward.
You're listening to the C3 Panthers Podcast, the longest running Panthers podcast. We're every Tuesday night chopping up the latest Panthers news and opinions. We thank you for your time and your energy. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button, subscribe. As more and more news continues, this season's going to be great. The podcast is going to be even better. We're going to have tons of giveaways coming up, so stick around, guys. Do not worry as things settle in, as we continue. Look, I have a couch. My living room has got couches in it now. Holy cow. Right? It's like things are going to return to normal and only get better. We appreciate your support, your time, your energy. You can always support the show by considering being a C3 super fan for just $1.99 a month, or what's the greatest thing you can do is share the show with a friend and be a part of C3 Legion. These guys are always killing it with the spaces, the Friday free for all. CK, it is time for the longest running segment on the longest running Panthers podcast. I think we should ice some fools up. It's our time to tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Ice up, son. Ice up, son. It's our homage to Steve Smith, where we tell someone to ice up, toughen up, to get it together. Everyone's fair game, from politics to ourselves, to our friends, to our family, to little kids that live in Oklahoma that we've never met. Yes, I've iced up a 12-year-old in Oklahoma before for throwing shade at Jerry Richardson for sending him a gift basket. He's like, nah, I'm good on the Panthers. Maybe the kid made the right decision. I don't know. Ice up time. Cody's not here, right? And so we don't have videos of people dying on the internet. Ugh, I missed that. We got to get that. Cody, we need you. I know. Or almost dying. CK, do you have an ice up pick for us this week?
I was looking at my list here. If you want to throw something out, I'll have something.
I don't have a great, you know what? I got a great one and a terrible one. It's not even that great. It's not fun. It's not funny. It's just like reality. I've iced up moving so much for the last, I've moved out of a house into a house. I'm still moving, right? Like, because I'm not doing it just all in one swoop. I've been very excited about this. As I said, when I moved into this place, I'm starting on a great foot. I'm not going to start behind, right? Like, I'm not going to, like, everything is going to be clean, spick and span from the beginning. Like, I want to start out fresh at every moment. So I didn't just throw everything in, I went from the very beginning to Clorox in all the cabinets, putting all the shelf line, all of this. I was hampered by rain. It's still raining in North Carolina. It rained tremendously today. Got a security system put in today. That was cool. My ice up, though, comes to when it comes to moving, regardless, it's fucking expensive, dude.
Oh, dude.
And I'm talking about, and like, again, I'm trying to do things right and start on the fresh foot to get a good, to where you're not fighting uphill every time. Thank God you don't have a mortgage payment your first month in the house.
Oh, man.
Thank God, because like whether it comes from the smallest things like the shelf liners to every single thing you have to buy. I'm buying my kids clothes because they need clothes. Like, not like me, they're all growing up.
They need things like from here and, anywhere else they're living.
Right. Yeah. And it is towels. It is, I'm trying to think, is
silverware. It's
like to the little
extension cords.
Yes, exactly. The extension cord for the TV to get mounted, right? Is I had to jack that one so you can see that little plastic strip right there. So I'm like hit it, right? So it looks somewhat decent. I had to jack that extension cord out of my daughter's room, and then you got to go buy another one. But I was thinking, like, I'm fucking hemorrhaging money, dude. And it's not like I'm just like buying new, like buy.
You're like getting used stuff and everything,
right? But like, it's just like the small things, from the thing that you put in the sink to hold the sponges. It's $12, dude, at Walmart. $12, right?
Yeah.
So you go I got to be the only person that went to like the Dollar Tree and spent $70 for organizers, for basket, but so I'm icing up the expense of moving, even when you're trying to do it in a reasonable way.
Yeah.
It's unreasonably expensive. And God bless people, thank God I'm not bankrupt. I tell you that. Thank God I'm not on CK's call list.
Yeah, that would be that would be tough. I'll do something along the.
Would you do it as a cat call if that ever happens? Will you cat call my bill call?
Leave a message on that cat call list line? Yeah, that'd be hysterical. So mine with my aunt and uncle, they're moving this year. That we just helped them a little bit this past weekend with getting moved, and they had a new Samsung refrigerator that we moved from one house to another. And one of the things that I would like to ice up is, like, who in the hell needs those two cabinets above your refrigerator? Does anybody else have this?
Right.
Like, this is the most useless.
You gotta get a step stool to get on them. You only put crap in them you never use, right?
Yeah, and if you get a new refrigerator that happens to be just slightly bigger than those things are actually installed at, you're now dealing with having to worry about either shaving down the bottom of the cabinet or just ripping that one set of cabinets down and making it look tacky as all get out. So I'm icing up anybody who makes those cabinets. If you're in the chat, feel free to give me some sort of an ice up too if you want to. But I'm icing up those.
It's an obsolete cabinet.
Yeah, it's an obsolete cabinet. And in a world where refrigerators are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Also, who in the world decided to put cabinets a foot below the ceiling to where there's this random dust gathering area up there? Like, what in the world is that about? Anyway, I'm sure there's reasonings behind it, but to me, it doesn't make much sense. Anyway, I'm icing up that.
Yeah, as somebody who's gone, I have an old fridge right now in my house, like that came with it. And I don't, again, you're not trying to hemorrhage. It works, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to just go buy a new fridge just because it's an old fridge, but it's little. And you're like, now, I'm so used to the doors. And now I'm ducking down, like I'm on hands and knees looking for stuff. Those cabinets above the fridge gotta go. They gotta go. Ice up. That's the C3 Panthers podcast. It's short and sweet tonight. Even short and sweet, still over an hour. We appreciate your time, attention, your energy, guys. I can't tell you how much you all mean to us. You mean to Cody, myself, and CK.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to work towards that back together Saturday as being a super event. So you look forward to that and the continued coverage. We'll be back here on Tuesday. We're going to figure out a way to make that Friday free for all happen this weekend. CK, pleasure as always hanging out with you, my man. Follow us everywhere you go, but be here on Tuesdays. We're YouTube's the place, but hit us up on Spotify. Make sure you share. Just go. You know what? One thing I do when I drive to work, sometimes I just hit the Spotify. I did the podcast and I listen to it at 2 speed on the way. It helps. Small things help. Share, like, subscribe. CK, you're the man. Cody, we miss you. We need you, brother. This place is not the same without you. And Joey, the Blind Panther, please don't take offense to that, because what I said, I don't know, I hope he doesn't take offense. You remind me of my biggest brother ever, Joe Riolano. No woman was ever safe around that dude. Let's see. Where is? I don't even know. Do we have an outro?
Yeah, we do.
Here it goes. See you guys later.